Kia ora koutou. I'm Rachel. Welcome back to my couch, where I talk about well-being and activism. Um, it is a strange time right now. How are you doing? Um, we're here in Aotearoa. We're just on day 2 of the official um, self-isolation part of the coronavirus, and it's weird. It's freaking weird. It's really lovely to have my partner home from work, but it is also a confusing time. So today I wanted to talk about getting cozy and enjoying the pleasures of being home during this time when we have to be home. This whole idea of creating a really comfy nest, a place of safety and soothing, supporting, kind of holding physical space to come back to, while you're in the midst of doing all of your important work and, again, whether it's paid or voluntary or whatever your activism is. That's something I wanted to talk about on this channel anyway, but it's really come feeling a lot more urgent to me right now because it's something that I need to come back to right now. I'm someone who loves my home, loves being at home, and I'm an introvert, so I like just being with the people I love. But I'm also somebody who needs a change of scene. I don't even like being in the same office for a full working day. I get stir crazy really fast, and so as the idea that we were going to be self-isolating, and we started self-isolating early too, a few days early, because my 2-year-old just touches and licks everything, so there was no way that we were going to be not spreading anything we caught, so we started early. And also because I don't have paid work or something where I have to be, it was easy for us to do that. So me and Tui started self-isolating early. My partner only just started yesterday. But as the idea that we were going to have to start self-isolating became more real, the feelings of panic just hit me in waves every now and then, because I know that I am not somebody who likes to be stuck in the house, unless I'm really sick and just don't have the energy to go out. I'm happy to stay home for a day, but by the second day I need to go somewhere else. So I'm trying to really sit with that and lean into the fact that we are staying home for the next at least month. And so it seemed like a good time to come back to something that I've learned in the past and just want to sort of relearn or reapply to this new, very, very strange situation. And I thought it might be helpful to other people watching as well. And that's this idea of hygge. It was kind of in fashion a few years ago. It was all over Pinterest and probably all sorts of other social media spaces and stuff. So I'm sorry that this is very, unfashionable and out of date. But it's something that back when it was fashionable really was a revelation to me, actually. It was really helpful in my life. And it's one of those things that, that I feel like I need to come back to now. So fuck it, might be unfashionable, we're talking about it. And so there's lots of different, articles and stuff out there about hygge, and I'll try to find some good ones. I don't remember being particularly moved by any I found online, but I will try to find some good ones to link below. But the main place that I've learned about hygge is this little book by Mike Viking, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that horribly, and hygge as well. Very possibly pronouncing hygge horribly. I'm just going by his phonetics in the book. He says it's pronounced hygge. Although he might be doing those phonetics based on an American audience that would say that quite differently. I don't know. Maybe my Kiwi accent totally mangles it. But this little book, this cute little book, was actually a real blessing to me when I got it back in, I think when it had just come out. So, like I say, this is a little bit out of date, but 2016. But when I got this book, it was around a time when I was really, really stressed at work and I was grieving. I think I mentioned on this channel before, but during that time, 3 people that were close to me had died, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I think I'll talk more about that in another video that's coming up, but this very simple idea of Hygge, which is about deliberately creating soothing spaces and taking pleasure in small, intimate, soothing, calming, delightful everyday life sort of things. That was really helpful for me during that time, and it seems relevant again now, especially because, like I say, we're in our homes, and he says in here, Hygge is, the home is the headquarters of Hygge headquarters. So, yeah, I just want to get Hygge, and I'm going to, sorry, I shook the camera then when I dropped the book down. I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Sorry if this video is a little bit confused. I'm feeling weird, and I'm sure you could all relate to feeling a bit weird at the moment. So, backing up a little bit. So yes, Hygge is this idea of pleasure in these small moments, and yeah, creating spaces and times and activities that celebrate and cultivate that. I think, I wanted to say first of all, the reason why I think this is particularly useful at this time while we are having to stay home is that, like it says on the book here, the Little Book of Hygge, the Danish Way to Live Well, and the person who wrote it works for the Happiness Research Institute of Copenhagen, and the Danes have, based on all the research, have the record for being the happiest country in the world, despite the fact that they have abysmal weather that means that they need to spend a lot of time inside over dark, long autumns and winters, and they only have very short summers. And so this is a population of people who have really worked out a way to deal with bleakness and a need to stay home in a way that kind of celebrates the coziness of that situation, and really has become a strength to the people of that culture. I think that we can all learn a lot from that, especially now. And like I say, it's about finding pleasure, but I also think, and I found very much while I was grieving, that this idea of creating soothing spaces and sort of really settling into soothing little moments is that you can take that 2 ways. You can either enjoy it for the pleasure and the happiness that it brings you during that time, but it doesn't feel like it's a pressured happiness. That soothingness that you create can also be a really lovely container in which you can feel your grief or feel whatever your big strange feelings are that you need to feel. It's about creating, like I say, soothing spaces that can also nurture difficult feelings as well. So anyway, getting down to the nuts and bolts of what Hygge is about, he says and he starts with this, number 1 is candles. Danish people love candles and also fireplaces if they are able to have a fireplace. And so lighting as many candles as you can, as often as you can, day and night. In their culture, they will light candles in their offices and in their classrooms. It's completely normal. And I've got to say that since I read that and have sort of given myself permission to light candles any time rather than sort of at special occasions or when I particularly want to create a really romantic atmosphere or a really spooky atmosphere or whatever, that candles do just give me a soothing, calming feeling, you know, like the way it translates, I can't remember the Danish word, but the way that it translates is living light, and I think that's a really nice way to put it. It does feel like a living light, and there's something very, it's like little hug from this little candle. Now, obviously we can't go out shopping and buy lots of beautiful, you know, I usually like to buy beeswax candles, but you can buy candles from the supermarket. You can get the sort of like the ones that you use in emergencies and stuff like that. And so I reckon if you don't have any candles, next time you go to the supermarket or order some groceries in, candles. And obviously practice safety around this, you know, respect fire and its power, and don't leave candles unattended, and make sure that they are in a fireproof container and all those kind of things. But get into it, man. It is, if you haven't tried it already, I reckon give it a try, because candles are good. And again, these are all little things. It seems kind of silly being like, have you considered candles? But like I said at the start, this stuff is just about nice little things that actually, for me, have had a profound effect. So the other, and if you can't have candles for whatever reason, or you just don't like them, the other thing, and he talks about in there, is just lighting in general, that Danes are just very interested in lighting in general. They try to have a lot of soft light lamps rather than overhead lights, you know, find ways that you can sort of make the light gentle. And I wanted to say too, just backing up a little bit, that I know that people will be in so many different kinds of situations in this lockdown. You know, some people will live in their own homes with their families. Some people will be flatting and only have a room to really call their own. Some people will be in situations where they don't feel particularly cozy and safe in their homes. You know, unfortunately, that's just a very real reality, that home isn't necessarily a safe place for a lot of people, whether it's because they flat with difficult people or they're in an abusive relationship. It's not always going to be a cozy time everywhere in your home. And I'll link something below about dealing with difficult people while you're in lockdown. And please reach out to services that are out there if you are in that situation. But I think that even if not all of your home feels safe, I think that there are some of these techniques are things that you can take and create at least little moments for yourself. Or like I say, if you're not in a really distressing situation like that, if you just live in a flat where you don't really feel like the whole house is your own or whatever, see if you can create coziness in your bedroom or in one little corner of the house or something that just can wrap around you a little bit. So that might just be one chair that has a lamp next to it that you've softened somehow with a cloth or whatever to just make some gentle light. Another big thing that is high on the Danish Hygge list is hot drinks. And I think that, like, most people I know are big into their hot drinks anyway, like whether it's tea or coffee. I'm just going to have some of mine because it reminded me of how good hot drinks are. But whatever you like, hot chocolate or whatever, now is the time to enjoy it. And I think, again, Hygge isn't just stuff. It's about taking the moment to appreciate it and lean into it and, just savor these small things. Your cup of tea. Another big Hygge thing is sweet things. So some cake, your favorite chocolate, just things that feel lovely and comforting. Just really enjoy them, and instead of just drinking them down while you're reading something stressful on Facebook or whatever, maybe sitting by the window for a bit, watching the weather go by, drinking your tea, enjoying these things, you know, having some gratitude, appreciating that maybe this moment is as good as it gets, you know. Yeah, and again, no forced happiness. These can just be comforting things that are containers for whatever you're feeling. What other hygge things? So yeah, those are the big things. Candles or lighting, cups of tea and cake. But there's also this idea, like I say, of hygge headquarters and making your home a really nice place for you to be. And that's something, like I say, that I wanted to talk about in general for activists. A lot of us don't necessarily give a lot of time. So I just keep wanting to look back at the candle, maybe to make sure my hair's not on fire, but also just because it's lovely. Yeah, as activists, we don't always necessarily put a lot of attention into our homes, especially like if you kind of come from an anarchisty punky tradition, you might be quite into living somewhere in kind of near squalor. But yeah, like I say, those few years ago when I was really stressed and I was grieving, it was really helpful for me to really think deeply about how to make my home the most comfortable to me. And one of the things that it took me so long to work out, and it was only really during that time that I really worked it out, is that me and my long-term partner have very different feelings about how to make a home comfy. I like things to be quite minimal, basically, like not too much clutter, wide open spaces, pictures on the wall but not too many pictures on the wall, that kind of thing. Some little moments, like I really enjoy making like little vignettes of pretty things that just kind of you know, are soothing to my eye. But I basically like things to be quite sparse. That's comforting to me. If I'm around too much stuff, I feel sort of like I'm mentally and emotionally cluttered. And she's the complete opposite. Like, she's comfy, the most comfy, surrounded by lots of stuff. And it can be like stuff that she really loves and is really important to her, but also just kind of like random bits of what I just think of as rubble, you know. And it took me a long time to not just sort of put up with having a lot of clutter in my house and feeling kind of low level stressed about it, but also not to shame her for being messy, you know, and to just accept that we need these different things to be cozy and comfortable, and to make sure that we create spaces in the places that we live that cater to both of us. So spaces that it's okay to just have stuff around, and spaces where the ground can be clear and you know, surfaces are clear and stuff like that for me. So it sounds so obvious now that I say it, but it took me a long time to learn that. So think about how that is for you, which way you kind of fall on that spectrum, and now might be a time to sort of, intentionally clear space or hunker in and get cozy with all your stuff around you. But some of the things that are kind of the traditional Danish way in terms of aesthetics and stuff like that of hygge, again, lighting and candles, blankets and cushions and cozy soft things with a lot of texture, a lot of natural things that you've just kind of like picked up on your walks outside, stones, branches, that kind of thing that you might put in vases, wood, I'd already said wood, but wood surfaces and stuff, and ceramics, like lovely handmade things, teapots and cups, and and it's sort of a leaning towards things that are handmade and old, and those kind of comforting in their organicness, I guess, things. And again, we can't go out op shopping at the moment to sort of like be like, oh, I need some new lovely cups. But I think this is the time to kind of just pull out those things from different places of the house and kind of like collect, like either make them more present in the main areas that you live, or like I say, create a little corner or something. That's what I'm going to be trying to do, like doing over the next little while, is like really deliberately kind of hoogering up my space. Finding your favorite cup and deliberately drinking out of that one and enjoying that you're drinking out of that one. have I left any things out about hygge? Yeah. Oh, again, one of the things that one of the most like hygge things in Danish culture is this. I think it's actually I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a little nook, where there's a nook in a window where there's a seat built in underneath it. But I think that we can kind of create some of that feeling even if we don't have that space in our house, like a seat under a window where we can look outside and see the rainy weather or watch the clouds go by or whatever, and enjoy the fact that we are cozy in our homes and safe. I meant to say earlier too, like, one of the nice things I think about this particular situation happening now for those of us who are in the Southern Hemisphere is that it is autumn, and so there's some of that natural feeling of hunkering down and getting cozy and stuff anyway. So it's also just about leaning into the hygge nature of this time of year, and enjoying being cozy and safe at home. The other thing that he talks about in this book is the idea of creating a little hygge box or a hygge emergency kit. And maybe this is something you could consider too if you don't feel like you can sort of hygge up your house, or there's not necessarily a space that you can do this in. Just creating a little kind of pack or just, like I say, pulling together stuff around the house. I probably would never get organised enough to make a box that it goes in. Sorry, there's a fly that keeps trying to land on my camera. But yeah, think about your hygge emergency kit. And so the things that you could have in there: candles, your favourite chocolate, your favourite tea, your favourite cozy sweater, because clothing is part of this as well, like, sorry, this fly. So favourite cozy sweater, it's all about being comfortable and cozy, but also a little bit chic, not feeling necessarily just like gross and sloppy. But I mean, again, no judgment if you're just in your pajamas this whole time, like whatever makes you feel good. For me, if I'm still in my pajamas at about 4 o'clock, I start to feel stale and yuck. But yeah, each to their own. But yeah, things that are casual and cozy, warm sweaters, your favourite fluffy socks, that kind of thing in there. A nice blanket, again, nice cushions, a favourite book maybe that you've read many times, favourite TV series, maybe some music, or you might want to create a hygge playlist. If you have them, printouts of like old letters that people have, the people that you care about, because part of hygge is also reminiscing about times that you've enjoyed with people. Actually, speaking about the times that you enjoy with people, I'll come back to that. What else could go in that kit? I don't remember what else he said. And a notebook to sort of, he was saying, you could write down, like, reminisce about your sort of most hygge experiences, write down some hygge experiences that you have had, and also, And a lot of it is about togetherness, being with people you love and stuff. So that's not necessarily, thinking, oh, I remember that time I drank some really good tea. It's more like, remember that time that, me and my friends went for that hike, and then we were all cozy sitting around, together having a drink while the stew that we cooked was cooking on the stove, kind of thing, like it's remembering nice times. And, you could also write in that notebook. This is what he suggests. You could also write in that notebook hygge experiences that you would like to have in the future, which is quite a nice idea. I think it could also be worth just having a regular journal in there. This is not necessarily a hygge thing, but just thinking about other stuff that I've read lately about stress and what we're going through at the moment. I read recently that it said that, writing in a journal for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes a day for 3 days in a row, 3 or 4 days when you're feeling, a particular upheaval, has market benefits, so something like that while you're getting hygge might be nice as well. Like I say, if you're creating this lovely container to hold your feelings in, that could be a space to feel your feelings. Anything else in the hygge kit that I haven't thought of? I can't remember, but anyway, like, you get the idea. Like, there'll be other things that are cozy and comforting to you, that you might want to put in there as well. And it's just about enjoying those things and being present with them, being present in the moment. Um, oh yeah, the thing that I was going to come back to is when it comes to like the sweet foods and stuff, like for sure, just buy your favorite chocolate as well. But there's also this preference towards home baking, and not just enjoying eating the home baking, but also enjoying the experience of home baking, enjoying the experience of cooking and cooking together if that's something that feels good. For me, I really love cooking. I don't always like the stress of having to, cook each day, but um, cooking is something that calms and soothes me. My partner, again, hates it and it's stressful, so I wouldn't recommend it for people who feel that way. But, and so the idea of us cooking together also doesn't work because I'll be enjoying it, she's not. Um, but yeah, it's just these kind of things, just leaning into the coziness of that. And that actually reminds me, thinking of candles again. I don't always do it now because we've actually got a fire at our place, but I used to do this thing for ages, and it was really soothing to me, of just lighting a candle each night while I cooked dinner. It kind of represented, since we all cook on electric stoves and stuff, it kind of represented that sort of home hearth that traditionally people would cook their food on, and helped me to kind of feel relaxed and feel that sort of sense of love and put some of that love into the food kind of thing. So that might be something that you want to try during this period as well, to just kind of, yeah, get cozy. Like I say, this is simple stuff and it sort of sounds very just Martha Stewart-y, but like I say, I found some of this stuff quite profound in the past when I needed extra gentleness, and that could be something that we all need now. Since we're in our homes, this is a time to really cultivate a love for our homes, and that's what I'm going to try to do over the next little while anyway. Like I say, it's day 2, it's just all fucking confusing right now, but trying to lean into that. Yeah, so I know a lot of people out there are on these big missions to sort of do home improvement things or organise their wardrobes or whatever, and I get the nervous energy. I did a whole lot of weeding yesterday, and normally I don't give a shit about weeds, I just let them grow, but yesterday I was just like, I need to be doing something, I'm going to weed. But I think if you're putting a lot of attention into your home, and another way to do it, or something to include in that, is this, again, this cultivation of hygge, this cultivation of a soothing, comforting nest that we can come back to. Now during this time when we have to be in it, but also for the future, for when we're going out into the world and dealing with the stresses of the world and having something comforting to come back to. Yeah. So take care and enjoy what you can of this time, and I'll see you again soon. Noho ora mai.